Hi everyone. I want to tell you a story of something that happened to me 2 months ago. So it's pitch black in the early hours of the morning. Myself, Ben Newman and Bo King Houston are with a small group of others who would prefer not to be named. And we're outside of MBR Acres, a puppy factory which breeds beagles to go and be tortured in laboratories. Ben's in front of me, bolt cutters in hand, and he's making a hole through the fence. And I hear the sound, clink, clink, clink. A security guard hears us and approaches, and he shines a light through the fence. We freeze like statues. Particularly Bo. And then we hear them speak on the radio, and they say, "We think there are people here, we've just phoned the police." People around me start to get nervous, and I'm starting to get nervous. And a minute later, we hear sirens coming down the road. People start whispering, "We should bail, we should go." Like there's no point in getting caught for nothing. Ben in front of me, bolt cutters in hand, just starts cutting double time, triple time, clink, 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 clink. Someone taps him on the shoulder and says, we should go, but he continues on and nothing is stopping him. He tears open the fence, charges through, and we all find our courage and follow. I approach the security guard and I say, "I know that you are stressed, but we are not here against you. We are just here for the dogs. Please just leave us to it." Within 4 minutes, we've cracked open the doors and I'm running out with a dog in my arms. And for the first time in their life, they get to see the sky, they get to feel the wind, and they get to experience love. I will never forget the look in their eyes as they look up to me, gentle like a baby in my arms. And that night, we rescued 5 beautiful beagle puppies. And once the dogs were safe, just before we handed ourselves into the police station to face trial, which, by the way, they didn't send us to, they dropped the charges against us because they were too scared to take us to trial because we stood up and faced that industry with bravery. But before we handed ourselves into the station, I said to Ben, what was going through your head in that moment? Why did you keep cutting? Why? And he said to me, and I will always remember this, he said, "If there is one thing I've learned in this movement, it's that nothing is impossible." And he said, "When things seem lost, we just have to act anyway. Nothing is impossible." And so that's the statement which I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life, that nothing is impossible. And it's because right now we face an absolute travesty. Like 73 billion animals, 2.3 trillion marine animals being killed every year. That number is expected to double by 2050. It's expected to double. It's currently increasing at a rate which outpaces population growth. We're in a climate and ecological emergency. We have the chief scientific advisor to the British government. He served under Blair, Brown, Cameron. And what he says is we have 2 to 3 years to determine the future of humanity. And if we fail to act, you have top scientists around the world saying we face the collapse of civilization. That's 2 to 3 years left to act. You have top scientists around the world saying that by 2040, we're going to have a 50% chance of multi-breadbasket failure, which means the main food-producing regions around the world will no longer be able to produce food because of extreme weather, and that is an event of mass starvation. We have predicted that by 2050, there will be between 1 and 3 billion climate refugees. People in power, Boris Johnson, Antonio Guterres, politicians all over the place and diplomats, know changing the system. They're not doing it. And I believe, like, there's many reasons why there's the corruption and being in pockets of industry, but I believe that the key reason that they're not doing it is because they can't actually imagine a world beyond the one we have now. They can't imagine a world where we have healed our relationship to nature and act and live with a sense of harmony. But the people here in this crowd, we can imagine a world where animals are free. We can imagine a world where nature is restored and the forests come back and the oceans get revived. We can imagine that world. We can imagine a world where we live in harmony with nature. And this is of such importance because we know again from the science that the most important thing that we can do to deal with the climate crisis and to deal with the mass extinction crisis is to bring back those forests and to restore those oceans. And when the UN brought together the top scientists who cover biodiversity issues and climate issues, what they said was that the thing that holds us back from doing what is required is animal farming and fishing. It is the people here who hold that message in their hearts and believe that the transformative change can happen. It is the animal rights movement who have always pushed the message that this change can happen. For years, the environmental movement have not touched this issue, which is why we had to create Animal Rebellion. The animal rights activists had to come in and bring that message to the world. And in 2019, we brought that conversation in and we went and occupied Smithfield's meat market and we transformed the global conversation. And along with campaigns like Veganuary and many other groups, what we have done is we've transformed that conversation and made sure that's part of the climate conversation. And then we're having campaigns in councils, like the Feed Our Future campaign have passed motions in Oxford Council, Cambridge Council, demanding that there's fully plant-based catering at their events. We've got the Plant-Based Universities campaign, which we began in October and has sprung up to be in 40 campuses this next academic year, where university students, they're not asking for a vegan option. They're not asking for meat-free Mondays. They're asking for fully plant-based catering at their university campuses. We are stepping up to demand the change that is required. Plant-based universities, do sign up. If you're a student, do sign up to that campaign. And most crucially, in September, hundreds of people are going to be going to go and blockade the dairy industry. We're going to go day after day after day with love in our hearts, and we're going to stop the supply of milk. And this is a mass movement, right? And it's driven by a group of people that believe nothing is impossible. Change has always been driven by actually a very small number of people that have faith and are willing to act on that faith. We've already got 300 people signed up, willing to be doing this blockade to the point of arrest. And we need more. The more people we have, the more disruption we can cause and the bigger conversation we can cause. So I'm here today asking you to believe in what your heart believes. Our heart knows that a more beautiful world is possible. Our heart knows that animal freedom is possible. Our heart knows we can tackle the climate crisis. And if we come together and we take action, and in September we go and blockade that industry, we will be on the front page of the news, we will be on prime time TV every single evening, and people will know that this industry needs to change, and the government will be forced to act. And we will be doing it at a time when thousands of other people in the environmental movement are also doing the same. There's going to be huge demonstrations, thousands of people going and taking action in October and in September, and we're going to be alongside them. And it is with this larger movement of movements that we are going to be protecting each other. When you have thousands of people willing to rebel against this destructive, unjust system, that is when change comes. So I'll say one last thing, which is that when we take this action, we do not take it in anger and we do not take it in hatred. We take it with love for life. That is the place where positive change happens, because what we want is a non-violent world, and a non-violent world is created through non-violent means, and non-violent in its purest, most beautiful form is driven by love. So there's going to be people around, you may have spoken to them, who are going to be going and asking you to take part in this campaign. If you want to come after this speech or at the end, we're going to have a little break now, I think. But yeah, come and sign up. Please get involved in September. It's the best thing you will ever be able to do. Thank you.